How's it going, everyone? Welcome in live to the Peace and Chaos program. I'm your host, DJ Aceman, alongside the legendary life of Big Don. Big Don, what's going on?
Nothing much. It's another snowy week here in New York. It's kind of depressing to be quite honest with you, but we're here. We're back. We got a good show for you tonight. Judging by that killer thumbnail I made, I'm very proud of myself for that. We're gonna be talking about Ted Cruz. We're also gonna be talking about Rush Limbaugh. We're probably gonna delve into some Andrew Cuomo nursing home stuff. So stay tuned for that. We got a good hour for you guys, and hopefully we can get some good things going here.
Yes, and just a reminder to everyone on here, go follow us on Twitter, Peace and Chaos P1. That is Peace and Chaos P1. I have it right up here on the screen. Peace and Chaos P1, Peace and Chaos P1. And also, we will be streaming live every Saturday at 8 p.m. That's every Saturday at 8 p.m. right here on YouTube, just to be sure with everyone. Okay, everyone. It was a busy week this week. We saw Trump getting acquitted last weekend. We also saw the big historic snowstorm in Texas. On top of that, you had the whole Cuomo controversy, and you also had the late Rush Limbaugh pass away at age 70. And we're going to be talking about everything tonight. But first, let's go to the top story, and that is with Ted Cruz. So,
Ted.
so earlier this week, yeah, Ted Cruz, he ended up sending his children because what happened was in Texas, there was a big snowstorm that happened earlier in the week, temperatures below freezing. The Lone Star State has not really seen anything like this in quite a while. People were without power. Some are still without power. Others were without food and water. And unfortunately, some Texans did perish from this snowstorm. And the main controversy here is that Ted Cruz actually sent his daughters to they actually had to go to Cancun. And this is all about right now the aftermath of that. And a lot of Texans are really getting livid with him. They want him to resign because they feel like he left the state and that was not a good look. But Big Don, I'm going to ask you first. What do you think of this whole controversy?
I got a whole rant about this.
All
You ready
right,
for this?
I want to hear it.
All right, Ted Cruz. You listen to me, buddy. You do not deserve Father of the Year, despite what the president says. You are the most spineless insurrectionist cake eater I ever seen in my life. You, for what you did to your constituents by deciding, "Ooh, I'm going to go send my people to Cancun while all my people that pay my salary are here suffering." That ain't right because you got a serious problem with how Texas's sort of power where it's distributed. It's a very deregulated state. I think it's the only deregulated state in the whole entire nation. I remember Ted Cruz getting on California back when they had some power outages back in the summer, and he was like, "Well, this is the Democrats' fault for not having all these regulations. And now it happens in your state, and then you're quiet and now you're trying to leave. You're trying to go to Mexico. Get out of here, Ted Cruz." My whole thing with Ted Cruz is this: he got really popular after the 2016 election because he did moderately well. Obviously, he didn't get the Republican nomination, but he became a household name after that.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, it's just Ted Cruz just represents a, a big facet of, I would say, the old sort of neocon Republican Party that many Americans despise.
Okay.
And this is a perfect example of his incompetence.
Okay.
So
All
Ted
right.
Cruz, you need to do what you need to do. People right here, you need to get back to your state and then go to your Senate and say we need to help these people. We figure out how to get the most efficient energy for these people as possible because people are dying, people are freezing in the cold. People got candles. They're gathering around candles, man. I never. If you've seen some of these pictures in like cities like Houston, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
People's pipes are freezing, and this is Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you made a good point there with all the things. And he was, he was very popular among the Republicans, and he still is. But like you can't forget after the insurrection and how he was still allies with Trump, how I mean the left view him, and we went over this like 2 weeks ago on on the podcast where we talked about how like some of these really unlikable candidates, I mean unlikable Congress women and men and how we were going over some of the conservatives. And Ted Cruz was on there. He was on that list with Mitch McConnell and Marjorie Taylor Greene and a couple others. And I mean, I think you made a good point there. I mean, all about this whole controversy. I think he's kind of screwed if he wants to keep running. I think that people like Beto O'Rourke or anyone who's going to try to run against him in 2024 in Texas, or if he's going to try to run for president, I think that he's going to, honestly, I don't know. I think it's gonna hurt him. I think this issue right here is gonna hurt him. I think they're gonna use this for political tactics and ads. They're gonna use this against him on the debate stage, whenever that is. I think they're really gonna try to rip into him, and they're gonna claim that he is not really for Texas and he's really just a Republican hack.
Yeah, well said. I think as we're seeing right now, we certainly saw this in last last year's election. Texas is slowly turning blue,
Mhm.
and that's going to be. If we look back at even the midterm elections where he was running against Beto, he won by the slightest margins.
Yeah, he did not win by a lot.
Now, do I think there's still a real possibility that he'll keep his Senate job because I think Republicans need to get their stuff together, and of course, it's hard to project of when they're going to what the whole entire party system. I guess the state of the Republican Party is going to look like by the time midterms roll around, which is actually pretty soon. But overall, I think I think Ted's gonna be looked down upon by Americans.
Yeah, I think that this whole incident is really gonna hurt him big time. I think it's gonna hurt him. It's gonna hurt his chances in the future. It might even harm the Republican Party in Texas too, because they still have control with Governor Abbott and then also with Senator Ted Cruz and Cornyn. And I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. This one incident right here is really going to harm them, because I think a lot of Texans are never going to forget about that, because they all experienced it and they're going to feel like all the Republicans and everyone who was in office failed them. And I mean, I just pulled up this picture right here of this street fully covered in snow. And I mean, if you look at other pictures, you can go on Google Images and see all these people. Like, there are long lines. This is during a pandemic, by the way. People are trying to go to their local supermarket. They don't have enough water. They don't have hot water. They don't have electricity. I mean, power outages. People are freezing, and like, this is what's going on. And I think that is going to harm. I think that's going to harm everyone who's right now incumbents in office.
Like, here's the thing: who's gonna defend this guy?
I don't know.
I want to see who can defend Ted Cruz because, I mean, you can say he just wanted to get out of the warm weather and if he has the money to, hey, so do it. That's fine. But you got people down there. These people are paying your salaries.
All right. All right. I can kind of see what some people might say about this. Someone might say, well, you know what? He was just trying to be a good family man. He didn't want his kids to suffer, and he wanted his wife and his children to be somewhere where it's safe. He didn't want them to be in harm's way here in Texas. And I mean, yeah, that's nice to say, but what about the rest of the Texans?
Anyways, I think we'd be a dead horse here. Ted Cruz, he royally screwed up here. I think he's going to be mocked in the Senate for this.
They're trying. Well, before they were trying to get Hawley and Ted Cruz out of the Senate for still voting to acquit Donald Trump. So I mean, when you look at that too, I mean, he's not well. Big Don, he was not well liked before this.
No,
he's liked by Republicans, but some Republicans, I should say.
I don't know. I think Ted's popular, and he has a surprisingly pretty large platform. If you look at some of the places he is online, I think he sometimes will go on like Ben Shapiro or like Steven Crowder or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So he has his dedicated followers. It's just like, how devoted are they after seeing what this and how sort of partisan are they willing to swing?
True. Yeah. Well, yeah, that was one of the biggest stories this week, alongside the Texas snowstorm, which affected millions in and around the Lone Star State. All right. I think we should go talk about another controversy, and this one is in the Empire State, and this is with
My state.
Andrew Cuomo, Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York. So this is the whole nursing home scandal. Big Don, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. So what happened was nursing home scandal. This was pretty big throughout the pandemic of how Cuomo decided to shift people who had COVID into nursing homes after they pretty much said like, okay, they're good to go. And what resulted to that was a huge spike in deaths because of COVID in nursing homes, which is not good. I mean, New York had probably the biggest uptick at the beginning in terms of COVID deaths, and it was not even close for a couple months. And now, thankfully, things have gone down, and Cuomo has been heralded as a hero for this. But with this coming out, like me and PJ were even saying before this, Cuomo was a possible presidential candidate,
He was.
and he had a good chance too. I pegged him in as Biden's VP, even right before he came out and said we're going to go after a woman vice president. But Cuomo was heralded as a hero amongst Democrats.
Yeah. And I just want to chime in here. Like every day when the pandemic was just getting all this news attention in March and April of last year, Cuomo was on like every network every day giving his normal talk about, oh, we're going to have to stop the spread here in New York. We're going to shut down all businesses. We're going to do this and that. And he was really propelled. Like it was an awkward time because the Democrats already kind of figured out who they were going to have, either Bernie or Joe at that time, because of the electoral votes. I mean, because of the votes already
Yep.
that were casted. But I mean, the delegates. But because of that, Cuomo was kind of put in that spot where, do you think it would be a good idea for Joe to pick Cuomo as his VP? He looks very
I didn't think it
popular
was
right
a
now.
real possibility. I was thinking it was just like a broad sense.
Well, I think that a lot of people, I mean, you
He
saw
wasn't really
him,
rumored.
but I think that like he was probably the most like well known at that time. I mean, he was in the news every single day,
Yeah.
and I think that helped him out. I think that helped out his public perception. I think that helped out a lot of things for him. And I think that after what happened with this whole nursing home scandal, which I mean, honestly, is pretty new. I mean, it's not that old. There were some discussions about this later in the fall regarding it, but it didn't get as much news as it does now in the new year. And as someone who's not from New York, I think this is pretty sad. I think
As
that
someone
it.
who is from New York, I feel betrayed because what happened was I think it was a Secretary of State or like a state senator, not a Secretary of State. I think he went up. I think he was confronted about this and say like, okay, we're downplaying the numbers here, and obviously he exposed that. And ever since then, Cuomo's got into has turned into a tough guy. Like, have you seen his like appearances in terms of whether he's on the news or whether he does his own press conferences? Whenever he's confronted about this, he's just
Oh yeah,
he's doing whatever he can to save his political career
remember
at
he
this
had that
point.
whole. I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you remember when he had that whole the orange zones and the red zones? Remember
Orange.
he was screaming at one of the reporters from like I think New York City News. He was like screaming at him, and he was like, "It's the orange zones and the red zones." This was back in the fall when everyone was asking, "Oh, when are schools going to go back? What schools are eligible?" He was like screaming, "There's the orange zones and the red zones," and like all different states kind of do like the same thing where they put like like every city is a color. So green is where it's lower transmission, yellow like moderate transmission, and then red or the orange was the high. And I mean in New York, it was probably the state, I mean around the areas like near New York City, it was probably more red and orange. So he was probably screaming at people about that. But he was really aggressive. Like he was very aggressive at every single
He
news
was.
conference I watched. He was always very authoritative, very I don't know, he kind of had like a stronghold type like stronghold type leader at these different news conferences. And
Now,
hmm?
let me say this in terms of Cuomo's career. I think this is going to be an incredible black mark
Yeah,
on sort of his legacy and, of course, his re-election chances.
I agree.
Now, now the question then becomes, because I don't think New York's going to go red
Oh no,
whatsoever.
no.
It's like, who's going to be the replacement for that? Are we going to get someone like who's more progressive, or are we going to get like a Yang, who's actually rumored? I think he's running for New York City
I
mayor.
think he might win mayor. I think he's gonna win
Yeah,
mayor.
Bill De Blasio has. He's not the greatest.
Oh yeah, he's not. He's had some blemishes in his political career. I think with the whole exodus in New York right now, anyways, that's
Yeah,
not going to help. But I mean, we could go on the whole rant about Gavin Newsom too.
yeah, we could, because California is the exodus state.
Yes, yes, California, LA is dead. I heard like people are leaving LA and San Fran and all different areas because I mean, A, I heard that the taxes are through the roof, and
Yeah,
B, the homeless. I've been to LA. The homeless epidemic is so
yeah.
just
You go to Venice Beach and then you just see.
oh, you go anywhere in LA
I was,
or right around LA County or Orange County. Oh my
I
gosh.
was watching Alex Jones went on Crowder like a few days ago,
Mhm.
and he would say, "Look, we're trying to turn now Austin and XLA, despite the bump piss, the bump piss."
I did see that on Twitter. I did see that where they were talking about it.
Alex has a thing for bump piss.
And like Joe Rogan and
Elon
Elon
Musk
Musk,
are
they're
trying
trying
to
to make
turn Austin to
Austin
LA.
into like yeah, but Austin is kind of liberal, dude.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Texas as a whole is pretty much
It's a
redneck as
weird
hell.
state.
It's a weird.
Well, it's going to turn into Georgia. It's just when is it going to? Because Georgia is kind of the same way. You have
People
the
are leaving the
suburbs
rural
and the
areas.
urban areas are all pretty much going to be blue. Suburbs are going to be the battlegrounds because you know that you're going to lose the urban areas. And like when you look in Texas, you see Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and also some border counties, and they're mostly Democratic because of demographics and just because of history. And then you look at the outskirts of Texas, you look at some suburbs, and then rural areas, they're going to go Republican. It's the same way with Georgia, too. And it's just a matter of when is Texas going to turn blue?
Yep.
Because we all know it's going to happen one of these upcoming elections. Is it going to happen in 3 years in 2024? Is it going to happen in 2028? Are we going to wait probably 11 more years? What's going to happen? You know, that's the whole question.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back into this whole Cuomo thing, apparently this was over politics as well. I think they were trying to hide it from the Trump administration because I
Trump
think,
came down on him.
yeah, I mean, they were actually like kind of going at it in like April, May, and June when President Trump was like going after some governors and
Yeah, Cuomo was probably the governor.
he was the target. He and Whitmer too.
Yeah, and Newsom as well.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and Cuomo used to say in his little briefings of the
Yep.
day, it's the federal government. It's not me. It's the federal government. He used to do that.
Yeah,
every
something
single
sense
day.
like I know it's your own press conference and everything, but it's like you gotta take responsibility there. And he has apologized for some of the nursing home stuff in terms of transferring the patients there, and then the whole rate spiking up. I mean, a lot of families lost their loved ones during that whole entire span of like from like middle of March to like April, May. It was a crapshoot there.
It was, yeah. Yeah, too many people lost their loved ones or knew someone that lost their loved ones due to this pandemic. And our hearts go out to them and their families and to anyone who was affected by this because this is going to be in the history books. I mean, they're going to be writing about this tragedy and how many hundreds of thousands of Americans who lost their lives, and also almost about a million or over a million in the world, or just about now,
Mhm.
of people who died from this. And our hearts go out to them and they will never be forgotten.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to. I mean, we could do projections of this right now. We could see who's gonna be running in in 2022. I'm not sure when's the next governmental governor race.
Let me see here. I'll go check it out right now.
Yeah, go check that out because I want to know who I'm voting for.
Wait, you trying to go on live stream right now and tell
Endorse someone. Oh,
uh
well,
the next race is going to be in 2022.
all right, Cuomo.
Yeah, right here. I can
I'll vote for Supreme Vermin over you.
Vernon, he's not even from New York though, right?
Yeah, he's just he's just the old crazy dude that runs for the Libertarian Party because
There's some
libertarians are crazy.
potentials. We have
Potential
Alessandra Biaggi,
from Mount
senator
Vernon.
from Mount Vernon, Timothy Kennedy, state senator from South Buffalo, and then Jumaane Williams, New York City public advocate and candidate for lieutenant governor of New York. Okay. There are also some Republicans, Mike Carpinelli, Lewis County Sheriff, and also Derek Gibson. I mean, this is all from Wikipedia. I don't know how true this is, but
Yeah, libertarian candidates. Larry Sharp.
yeah, but I mean,
Why
when
does
you
he
look,
sound familiar?
Larry Sharp, I don't know. And then they also have AOC, maybe her,
Oh God.
maybe her. I don't know if she'd really
You
go
ever heard of
governor right
AOC?
now. AOC, could we have AOC? I don't know.
AOC would. Oh God.
I don't know. I don't
She.
know.
I don't know. Would. I'm not sure how the rural people will feel about that. They'll probably try and do an insurrection in Albany.
Yeah, there's a couple in New York's I've seen it though. There's like some new I don't know if you follow your own like local state senate, but there are some people in your New York State Senate who are kind of more like left wing left,
Yep.
like AOC. They kind of
Progr-
like follow.
that level of progressiveness.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Liam in chat. So thanks for showing up, bud.
Yeah. Thank you for showing up, Liam.
We wouldn't be here without you. We're talking about the governor's race in 2022 that you're going to be voting in. And
Oh,
now
yeah, there's
Cuomo screwed
also
up.
Janice Dean. They also said that Janice Dean, you know what's weird about her on this list for the Republicans? She kind of, I don't know if you know this, but Janice Dean's, I think it was her mother and father-in-law, I believe, lived in, they died due to COVID, and they died in a nursing home. And she used to go on Fox News as like different programs in the fall.
Yep.
And she was going after Cuomo. I don't know if you remember this, Big Don, but she is they're putting her as a potential too.
They're putting George Pataki as a potential, which is weird because Pataki he was the governor after, I think he was the governor after Andrew's dad, Mario Cuomo, and then he got replaced by Cuomo. And he's from my hometown, so he's like the Ed Markey
Oh gosh.
of my state.
Wow. Look at that. But yeah,
Well, he's a Republican, so
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Republicans aren't going to win. What do you think is like the percentage of them? Like what was the percentage this year in the election? Was it like 30% did they get? 35% for Trump? How much did he get in his home state?
probably around the 30% mark. We can look that up.
Yeah, I mean a lot of blue states. He usually got about 30 to 35%. Here, I'll go look it up right here. Sorry. Trump, New York. Hold on, guys. 1 second. Trying to look it up here. How much did he win by? Oh yeah, he as you can see here, he had 37.75% of the vote, and he got 3.2 million votes in New York, while Joe got 5.2 million. Yeah, wow. But Trump was not running out of New York. He doesn't declare out of New York anymore. He declares out of Florida for his home state, even though he's from New York.
Wait, hold on. I'm seeing if stream might be acting up. Yeah, we're still good.
Okay. Technical difficulties. That's interesting, though. He did get 37%.
Yeah, it's a big margin right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, it is.
That's not bad.
Margin. Yeah, not too bad. Do you think New York could ever go red?
It could.
When?
Probably not for a while.
Not for
but
a
it
while.
could.
Okay. Do you think it'll be red and because we have seen a shift in like American politics? I mean, now the Sun Belt in the South they're all going blue.
I mean,
Do
is
you think?
anyone going any like blue states going red?
I mean, technically Pennsylvania did, but in 2012, I think they were. I think I don't know. I think Trump kind of built that back. Built. Oh, sorry. Built that up in the
Built that
Midwest.
wall.
No, not built that wall. No, uh, the the belt and the Rust Belt. That's
Yeah,
what
the
they
Rust
call
Belt,
it. In Ohio,
Bible
and then
Belt.
well, the Bible Belt is in the South.
Yeah, Trump owns the Bible Belt.
Yeah, he
He
owns the Bible.
officially claimed the Trump Bible Belt.
He did.
I wish.
I think it's an old
I
term.
bought I bought the term. I officially bought the rights to the term Bible Belt. I wear it every day with me.
That's kind of funny, man. All righty. Well, we just went on a sidetrack about Governor Cuomo and also about the 2022 New York govern gubernatorial
Gov-
race.
Governorial. I don't know. We just made up a
Gubernatorial,
word.
gubernatorial. All right. One of the other stories of the week, now we're kind of moving on here, is with
Rush.
Rush Limbaugh. So I don't know if anyone knows, Rush Limbaugh was a conservative radio host that was syndicated nationally from the mid 1980s to 2021 when he passed away this week on, I believe, Wednesday. He passed away. Now, leading up to this, he was sick. He was battling cancer. He had stage 4. He let everyone know that, I think, last year in 2020. And he also won the Presidential Medal of Freedom back in, I think, 2019, 2020.
Yeah,
President
it
Trump.
was recent.
Yeah, it was recent, within the past year or two. And Rush was a big icon in the conservative media. He was someone who a lot of conservatives around the country looked up to. I mean, you hear this week Ben Shapiro had a very touching tribute to Rush. Other conservative talk show hosts also paid homage to him. And I really think that he was someone to the conservative movement that really kind of brought it to light. And we're just going to be discussing kind of Rush Limbaugh, who he was, what we think he had, what his legacy and his impact was, and also kind of where this conservative media goes after he passed away. I mean, after he passed away, Twitter kind of went, some people on Twitter were mourning his loss, honoring him, and others were kind of going after him. But I mean, he was a figure in the Republican media that some loved and others absolutely despised. But Big Don, I want to see what you have to say about Rush.
Well, Rush, he transferred talk radio and made it a lot more political. I mean, stuff you see on Fox News, stuff that you see with people such as Ben Shapiro, any facet of like right wing talk radio, Rush was pretty much the pioneer of. In terms of the ratings he got, I mean, he was big in rural areas. I mean, he got I would say he kind of sparked sort of the '90s renaissance of like neoconservatism,
Mm-hmm. He
and
did.
obviously Rush is an icon. I mean, he even within your local area, like how many people are like Howie Carr,
Yeah, there's a
Jeff
lot of
Cooner.
conservative talks in New England, and I mean they're like nationally syndicated too. I mean they're on Fox News. You know, I mean you can look around. I mean Rush Limbaugh though he was from Florida, I think, but he was well known everywhere. He had listeners from California to Maine to New York to New Mexico. This guy had them from everywhere. And I mean, nowadays, everyone, I mean, Sean Hannity, he's nationally syndicated, but Rush Limbaugh was like one of the first people who really kind of took this neoconservative movement and just ran with it. And it was because of his radio show that was big in the 80s and 90s.
Should,
And then it just grew into the 2000s and it was iconic for a lot of people.
should I say my conspiracy about Rush?
Yeah, yeah, go right ahead. Why
Okay,
not?
so there's a conspiracy out there. This is pretty much the same as Alex Jones being Bill Hicks. A lot of people have claimed that Rush Limbaugh is actually Jim Morrison
Oh my God.
because they look exactly alike. I mean, Here's one thing. Say what you want about these conspiracies, even though I find them kind of silly because of like, why would you replace a famous person with another like hypothetically dead famous person?
Yeah,
Like,
that
why
is
not just
so
get like a
weird.
nobody?
There's like the picture of them right here.
Yeah, they look identical. I wouldn't be surprised if they're related. Actually,
They kind of look related. I
they
mean,
have like a similar facial structure.
yeah, there's some weird ones on here. Like, look at this. Yeah, a little bit, but like, when was Morrison alive? 70s, 80s?
He died in the 70s. He was part of
I
the
know Jim
27
Morrison,
Club.
the singer,
Yep,
right?
the
He's a
the
singer.
front man of the Doors, Jim Morrison. He was part of the 27 Club, which is a list of celebrities that like died at the age of 27.
Hmm.
This includes people like Jimi Hendrix, Amy Winehouse.
Marvin Gaye.
Actually, I think Marvin
He
Gaye
got
died.
killed. I don't know. His father killed him.
His father killed him.
I don't know how old he was, but that is kind of weird. That I mean, you've heard of like the Vladimir Putin conspiracy theory.
No, I haven't.
So like, there are people that believe Putin has he has so many different body doubles.
Oh yeah, this was. There's always conspiracies about this.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people who have body doubles, but
Oh yeah, that's
there's
true.
like weird ones about Putin. I think that Kim Jong Un might have body doubles too.
He has to because the guy's like most wanted man in the Western world because he's always trying to blow up people.
Yeah, here, I'll show you right here. Right here. You see this picture?
Yep.
All the different Putins?
Look at all those Putins.
I mean, he kind of looks a little different since he was like the top left one, I think, was when he was elected in the 90s. And then today is like this one on the bottom right. He does look a little different. Maybe he just got
How do they
older.
find these people? That's my question.
Huh?
How do they find these hypothetical people?
I don't know. Dude, in 2010, in this one, he looks like an old man.
Maybe-
It's either that or he has like some type of surgery.
Yeah, that could be. I mean,
Well, I don't think we
that's
should be
scary.
spreading some conspiracies about them, but yeah,
Yeah, we don't want to get flagged here.
going back to Rush Limbaugh. Rush was we were just discussing Rush and how his whole conspiracy theory, but going back to just who Rush was, what his message was. He was someone who was probably the most iconic in the media for discussing the conservative movement. And I think he was someone who you could tune into every single day and you could hear what he had to say. And people valued his opinions, Every day they valued what he had to say about whatever the top story was, whatever whoever the president was, whether it was Bill Clinton, George Bush, George Bush Sr., President Obama, President Trump. They everyone used to love what he had to say. Everyone they always wanted to hear what Rush had to say. And then he used to have people who used to call in as well. You'd have some crazy people call in. They'd used to voice what they wanted to say. Sometimes he'd have some liberals come in and call, but
Yeah,
he'd
cool.
also have some conservative people come in and call. And
Yeah.
recently there was a weird one where he was having a lot of really diehard Trump people coming in to call, and Rush was like, okay, okay, but he used to, he was kind of buying the whole election fraud thing, but I don't know, he
He had to
couldn't
peddle
really say
something
it.
for his audience.
Yeah, he had Mark Stein coming in and call. I mean, Mark Stein is now like the dude who runs the show. I don't know what they're gonna do with the program now. Do you know
Yeah,
what
it's
they're
like
gonna do?
Alex Trebek.
Oh, do you think they're just gonna have different
They should
Republicans?
do that. Maybe like platform some like people.
So do you think like they could potentially have like Tucker on one day,
They
and
could have
then
Tucker on.
Sean Hannity could do a day, Dan Bongino, probably like um who else? Um Tommy Lauren, people like that.
Yeah, they could do that. I don't know. It depends on how. It depends on his listener base because I don't know if you could like throw in like the new age sort of online conservative movement into Rush's audience. They're just like people driving their trucks.
Well, yeah, now like he's paved the way for different people, and now with all YouTube and all these different platforms, like you have this new wave. But I mean, these young conservatives, I mean, they watch like who? The conservative twins, the Hodge twins, that's their
Yeah.
name. Ben Shapiro, you have Steven Crowder. Who else is big?
Dave Rubin. Prayer you.
He's Prager. I don't know. I think some people stay away from them. You have
They have
some
a
real,
good base. They have like a good amount of subscribers.
yeah, they're not too bad. They're not too bad. Yeah, but you have these new conservative YouTubers, creators. Do you think also some conservatives watch Tim Pool?
Yeah, I think that's most of his audience base because I think he kind of wouldn't say
But he's not
panders
a
to them. I
conservative at
mean, he
all.
tries to advertise them. He tries to not take positions, but he clearly goes after liberals more than conservatives.
I think the thing with Tim Pool is, I mean, we could discuss him for a whole nother day,
This is gonna
but
turn. This is gonna be a debate show.
yeah, he's I don't know what it is. I think the content right now, he's definitely getting onto this. I mean, he was a big media head to begin with. Like he was always focusing on what the heck the media is up to. Even with Vice, you know what I mean? When he was with Vice, he was always talking about political discourse, censorship, role of the media in the state, different things like that. And now, I mean, since it's really big in the US, he's really taken off with that as well.
You know who founded Vice?
Oh, who's that guy? Gavin McGinnis?
Yeah, Gavin McGinnis.
Yeah, he
How do you go from founding the probably the most liberal online media outlet on YouTube to being I think he founded the Proud Boys. Yeah, I think he did found the Proud Boys. He's
yeah, he
not running them
did.
now, but
He's
he can
not in
get
with them. I used to watch Gavin's show though, like last year. I don't know what his political backings are. You seen
probably they were
anything?
conservative.
You think he is?
Yes, I know he is. That's his
YouTube
audience.
was recommending his videos like a year and a half ago because I watch a ton of different shows on YouTube and like I never heard of him until like maybe a year ago and I was like, oh, Gavin McGinnis, okay, okay, and yeah, I mean nowadays I usually just watch Tim Pool or I watch some Young Turks or whatever, but yeah, he I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, I think that's true. Let's see here. I'm gonna turn to. By the way, for those who are still with us, you, there's a Zoom ID in the chat, so you can hit that up if you want to call in. We're probably gonna get off soon in about like 10 minutes, but if you want to get your thoughts in or just to engage in the chat, feel free. Let's check Twitter.
Yeah,
Let's see
let's
what's
go on
going
to
on in the
Twitter here.
Twitterverse.
And also, people, you can always use the live chat anytime, anywhere we're on this call. So just to make sure, you can always come in and come in and talk. You don't have to go onto Zoom if you don't want to. I know that's that extra 5-10 steps, but still, if you want to go on and you want to, talk, we're right here, and we always check the chat. So thank you again to Liam and everyone else who was tuned in today. And always, we're going to be on 8 p.m. on Saturday night.
We'll
And yeah,
try it every 8.
we'll try every week and also connect with us on Twitter as well. We put the Twitter in our description. All right, let's talk a little bit here. Earlier on today, oh yeah, one of the big stories this week, well, coming into next week, is going to be Trump is going to talk about Biden's immigration plan, and he'll talk about the Republican Party next week at CPAC. This was just announced just recently, about 4 hours ago. Fox News covered it. Axios has it right here. And Trump is going to be talking. He's going to probably take some jabs at Biden. It's going to be one of his big, like, first appearances in the
It's gonna be
public.
huge.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what we're going to really expect other than a couple jabs. Do you think that he might take a jab at Mitch McConnell again?
Uh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, because of how he sort of handled everything going on with his impeachment and validation of the votes.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Come on, let's get together, people." He's gonna go after Mitt. I could tell Mitt Romney.
Okay. Other than that, some other things going on this week is that Prime Minister Trudeau and President Biden are going to hold a bilateral meeting this week on Tuesday.
But Biden looks like Trudeau's father there.
A little bit, yeah. That is so strange.
Why is
Trudeau was
Thanos?
super young when he got elected. Yeah, he's like
Why?
one of the youngest.
Here's my thing. Why is Thanos trending?
Oh gosh. Here's our
Thanos.
little
Thanos.
entertainment update now.
Entertainment people.
I think it's just all these Twitter stands, you know what I mean?
Oh wait, it's probably like WandaVision stuff. Okay.
Yeah, let's go back to the news here.
Thanos.
Any other things going on this week? Oh, yeah, this was
This
NASA preservance. They actually landed a rover on
new rover.
Mars. Yeah, on Mars, which is a huge scientific development there. So, congrats to NASA, and we can't wait to see what's going on Mars for the future of our generation. Maybe in the future, I don't know if technology holds up, but if we're that technologically savvy in the future, hopefully we can actually like send people to Mars, like send actual humans.
Yeah, we could. SpaceX.
Oh
They're
yeah,
getting under the
SpaceX.
way. They're they're going full on into this. I'm telling you, Elon.
Didn't they have a little rocket blow up recently?
Did they?
I think they had one little accident.
I would check that. I have
Let's
no
see.
idea.
I think they had. I think something. They had an accident recently.
Hope King Coon Ted was on board. I hate that King Coon.
Yeah, this happened this year on the 3rd of February. This was the SpaceX accident, a prototype of a SpaceX rocket the company hopes will one day journey to the moon and Mars, has exploded in a roaring ball of flames as it tried to land upright after a test flight in Texas. It was the second such accident after the last prototype of the Starship met a similar fate in December. So they actually had two recent accidents in the Lone Star State. Wow.
Oh, bro.
I'm telling you, SpaceX is going to be a big company. They're going to
It's
them and NASA.
buy your Tesla stock. Well, you still can't afford it.
Also, in some news this week, you have thousands of turtles. They were rescued from Texas,
A lot
which
of
is
Texas
sad.
people.
This was the big story this week with Texas. You know what's weird, Big Don? We were talking about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how we hate the winter weather and how like other
Yep.
parts of the country will probably never experience it. And I think we were talking about how the South would never experience it.
Well, they did.
You know, that's kind of weird. That's like a coincidence.
They need to get their climate change stuff going, man.
Come on, man.
We need to pass some bills. I don't care who we need to get out of office. If it's snowing in Texas and people's lights are, if people are dripping icicles off their butt, then we need to do something. It's not global warming. It's not getting warm. It's like I was one time told the story of how this one senator brought like, it's not global warming from Oklahoma. And he's just like, I got snow in my district.
I think that's just climate change. I don't think they're going on the global warming anymore. I mean, some probably are discussing that still because the temperature is rising in the ocean, but I think they're kind of more using the word climate change.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think it's all about extreme weather that's happening now. I don't think it's so much about um, I don't think it's so much about seeing hot weather in the winter because I mean here in the north we get awful snow still, and I mean you'd think that the weather was going to get warmer but it doesn't. So I think
No.
it's more about, I mean, but in other parts of the world, I mean they're seeing like in South Asia they're seeing record typhoons. They're seeing droughts in sub-Saharan Africa. So I mean in other parts of the world they are experiencing a lot more extreme weather, but here in North America, we're seeing colder winters and kind of warmer summers. That's the whole thing with
That's the world we're living in, people.
that is the whole world we are living in.
We're all gonna be forced to stay indoors eventually.
Well, we already were put indoors last year.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and
we're gonna be really put indoors in a couple of years.
don't go, don't go outside, people.
Yeah. Stay safe. Alrighty, people. I think
Like,
that is gonna do it for us this week. Big Don, you wanna take it away or say any announcements before we head out?
uh, I think we'll try to do weekly streams. I want to do. I'm going to debate PJ on the Tim Pool point. I want to make sure we're getting. I want some good content there. I think that's going to make for some fine entertainment right there. We're going to for those who are watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you, we're hoping to grow the stream eventually. We want to get some guests on. Hopefully down the
Exactly.
line.
Yep. I think down the line, at the end of this year, we're hoping to do more things where we have some ideas in the works for different types of content, including documentaries, interviews, live streams, of course, but also some reactions as well. So we're definitely going to be getting more content out there. We're going to try to be out on YouTube once a week on Saturdays around 8 p.m.
Yep.
We're going to try to do an hour stream or just about an hour stream between 45 minutes to an hour each week. We're going to be discussing what happened that week and also whatever the big stories was. And this week we had a lot of stories that were covered. We're going to be discussing a lot more next week. We'll probably talk about how President Trump's CPAC talk is going to be about. And we're also going to be talking more about the repercussions of the Texas snowstorm and also things coming up in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So again, everyone, thank you again for coming on, joining us in the stream. Make sure to go follow us. I'll put the Twitter right here. Peace and Chaos Program. That is Peace and Chaos Program. Follow us. We're going to try to be on Twitter a lot more, so you can always interact with us there. And also, don't forget, every Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be discussing all the week's happenings. Again, 5 p.m., 8 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you all again, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Peace.